Good morning, Year 6. It's good to be back. I wish I could actually see you all, but we'll have to make do with this for now. So I know you've done ratio the last couple of days with Mrs. Heshry. Now we're going to move on to finding the area of different shapes, starting with quadrilaterals. You should all know that quad means four, so it's four-sided shapes. But to start off, I would like us to just do some math meeting. Really straightforward ones. I want you to work out the answers to these. For the second one, which is starting with the smallest fraction, don't forget to find a common denominator. Off you go. Okay, so what's the value of the 9? It's 90,000, and then the common denominator for those ones is twelfths. So if you convert them to twelfths, you can then put them in order. Write in the missing digit for this division, and it does not have a remainder, so you do the inverse, 3 times 2 to give you 6. And then using the 3-digit cards, make the following 2-digit numbers. So it's done the first one, an even number, and it wants a prime number. Remember, a prime number can only be divided by itself and 1. Some people might have put 51 there, however 51 can be divided equally by 3 without any remainders, so it's not a prime number. A common factor of 60 and 90, so that is a number that when you go up in that number you will get to 60 and 90. So if you counted up in 15s you'd eventually get to 60, and then if you carried on you would get to 90. And then a common multiple of 5 and 13. So if you counted in your 5 times tables you would get to this number, and if you counted in your 13 times tables you'd get to this number. And a really good way to do it is to multiply them together, 5 times 13, which would give you 65. So moving on then, we're going to be looking at area. So I want you to remember the area is the space inside a shape. Okay, it's not the distance around it, that's perimeter. And to find the area we do length times width, or width times length. So the first one is a square, so nice and straightforward, it's 10 times 10, and then you don't forget to put that little centimetre squared at the end. Then we've got 8 times 6, which is 48 centimetres squared. And then this one is metres, 6 times 4, which is 24 metres squared. Okay, now you can see there that each of those pictures is represented in a slightly different way. So on the first one, we've got all 4 sides written in. We don't actually need it because we know that a square has got equal lengths all the way around. On the second one, we've only got 2, and even though it's very light to see, you can actually see the squares inside it, so you could count those to check your answer. And then on the last one, there's no squares, so you've just got to use your multiplication skills to work that one out. Okay, so this one then, like I said, we're starting off quite straightforward. I want you to work out the area of these shapes using length times width. And then if you want to count the squares to check your answer, you can do. Off you go. Okay, so the first one, 7 times 5 is 35 centimetres squared, 3 times 5 is 15 centimetres squared, 10 times 5 is 50 centimetres squared, and 11 times 3 is 33 centimetres squared. Okay, if you look at these ones, you can see that we have got a range of different 4-sided shapes now that have got different measurements. So some of them are millimetres, centimetres and metres. Obviously they are not to scale. So for this one, there's no squares, so you can't check it that way. But what you could do is do the inverse. So for example, if you do length times width, you could then do width times length and check your answer that way. Okay, off you go. So 11 times 4.5 is 49.5 millimetres squared. That one's a square, so we only need to know one of the sides, and it's 5 times 5, which is 25 centimetres squared. 7 times 4 is 28 metres squared. 25 times by 10 is 250 centimetres squared. And if you want to, you could convert that to metres, because we know that 200 centimetres equals 2 metres. And 4 times 6, or 6 times 4, is 24 centimetres squared. And then 12 times 8 is 96 metres squared. Tick those if you got them right and correct them if not. Okay, just carrying on with fluency now because I want you to be absolutely secure on this. So have a go at these ones. You should be doing quite well now, and this is where you really need to know your times table so that you can answer these really quickly. Off you go. And here's the answers. And don't forget to make sure you put that little squared sign at the end, otherwise you've got it wrong. Okay, moving on to some problem solving now then. Remember, if the area is length times width, then if you wanted to work out the width, you would have to do the inverse, so you would have to do area divided by length. Okay, that's to help you with that one. So work out the missing width for the first one and then work out the area for the second one. And on that one, you need to note that you've got millimetres and centimetres, so you need to do some converting there before you work it out. Off you go. Okay, so if the area is length times width, then the width is area divided by length. So we've got the area, which is 60 centimetres squared, divided by 12 equals 5 centimetres. It did actually want your answer in millimetres, so therefore you need to convert your 5 centimetres into 50 millimetres. On this one, it wants your answer of the area in centimetres squared, so we're going to keep our 6 centimetres and you're going to convert your 100 millimetres to 10 centimetres. And now you can do a straightforward multiplication. 6 times 10 or 10 times 6 is 60 centimetres squared. Okay, I know some of you have done this one before. Tommy has an 8 centimetre times 2 centimetre rectangle. He increases the length and width by 1 centimetre. So as it goes down, you can see that the length is increasing by 1 centimetre and then the width is. So you just need to work out the area by multiplying those together, and then he repeats that with a 4 centimetre by 6 centimetre. So again, add 1 centimetre to the length and 1 centimetre to the width. Then work out the area. It says, what do you notice happens to the areas? Off you go. Okay, so the answers then, 8 times 2 is 16 centimetres squared, 9 times 3 is 27 centimetres squared, 4 times 6 is 24 centimetres squared, and 5 times 7 is 35 centimetres squared. What you could have noticed is that if the sum of the length and the width is 10, then the area will always increase by 11. So for example, 8 add 2 is 10, and then you can see that the area is going to increase by 11. So the area goes from 16 centimetres squared up to 27 centimetres squared if you just increase the length and width by 1. And then on that one, 4 add 6 is 10. If we increase each of those by 1, then our area goes up again by 11 centimetres, from 24 centimetres to 35. And then it's just got a few little exploring things for you to do there. Can you find any other examples that follow the pattern? And are there any examples that do not follow the pattern? Okay, and then to finish off, I know this isn't a quadrilateral, I've not gone mad. This is a compound shape, and that's what we're going to be working on tomorrow. So a little bit of a challenge. Have a go at that one. Obviously you're going to have to work out some missing sides, see if you can work out the area, and then we will go through the answer to this one at the start of tomorrow's lesson. See you soon!